I am Coach Cameron, and I see a whole army of little soccer warriors here in defiance of out-of-control coaches and parents. You've come to fight as free players, and free players you are. What will you do without freedom? Will you fight?
No. Not against them. They're too scary. They scream at me repeatedly, and if I don't comply, they will take me out of the game. And I'll be embarrassed and ashamed. So will I fight? No. There's too many. I can't fight. I don't want to be subbed off. I want to play. So I'll do what they say.
Aye. Fight, and you may be subbed. Comply, and you'll stay on the field. At least for a while. And retired many years from now. Would you be willing to trade all the games from this day to that for one chance, just one chance, to come back here and tell the parents and coaches, shut up and no more, this is our game, not yours, and to tell them that they may take our game, but they'll never take our freedom.
AIA Executive Committee joins the cancel culture of a vote of 5-4 in the favor of let's get rid of winter sports. And that is a problem, but we'll talk about all of that on this live broadcast. And I have Coach Keetley McLachlan in the hot seat with us. How you doing, Keetley?
Fantastic, Dave. How you doing, man?
I'm doing amazing because we have the wonderful wisdom of Dr. AIA. He'll be on with us. And we are taking your questions on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and now Twitter. Like I said, each week I'm adding one new platform to keep adding to it, unless the cancel culture comes after me because I voted for Donald Trump. Oh, no, I didn't. Don't yell. I might get canceled. I'll see you on Parler. Just kidding. I don't even know how that works yet. So if you have any questions and comments about anything, just go ahead and place them, and we'll do our best to ask them. We'll do our best to answer your questions. But first, we must pause for a commercial break.
This episode is brought to you by CoachCameron.com, a place where you can get all your merchandise. Go to CoachCameron.com, click on the store, and buy the most expensive t-shirt you've ever bought, or the most expensive mug you've ever bought. You know why? Because I'm featured on it. I'm like the Nike symbol. Once you put me on it, it's going to cost twice of the value. But more importantly, you're contributing to a wonderful podcast. You will sustain this podcast if you make... I'm sorry, Coach Cam, I can't do this anymore. You are way overpriced. It's disgusting how much you're...
Get him off. Thank you. Yeah, that's Medulla Oblongata. You'll learn more of him if you keep tuning in, but you won't hear much of him more in the rest of this podcast. We do live shows every Sunday, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and now Twitter. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the notification bell. That's the main platform I'm pushing. Or if you want to catch past shows, go to CoachCameron.com and check out our past shows. IT Ryan is running the show behind the scenes. How you doing, IT Ryan?
Doing great.
Are we going to I have a buzz in my ear. Is that going to get out?
It's actually stopped online.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
I
I
have a
can't
buzz
hear
in my
you either.
ear. We had it last week, too, and IT Ryan hasn't fixed it, but that's all right. Dr. AIA, will be coming on. But we have Keetley McLachlan, who's a coach at Millennium High School, Ottawa University, and now she's the director of coaching of Arizona FC. What's up, Keetley?
Not much, Dave. I'm excited to be on.
Well, we're excited to have you. So Keetley is on the show because she's a past player of mine, and now she's a very well-respected coach in the community. But I try to bring on past players like I did last week. I brought Marin and Karis on, and I just fill them out and just ask them about how much they hated me as a coach. And then we try to learn from all my failures as a coach from past players, and we just kind of have a venting session of how I destroyed them and how I have had them lose sleep and all of that. But if you don't know, Keetley is she was actually got a Division I job at FIU. And then what happened?
COVID.
Well,
so yeah, basically I got this job at Florida International University out in Miami, Florida. This was something that took place over the summer, I'd say about in August. And yeah, you know, we went a few months. I was actually planning on going out September 16th. I was about to buy my plane ticket, about to be out there. I was super pumped. And then it got pushed back because of a hiring freeze. So, all right, hiring freeze. Got through that. She said we'd have more information in December. December came, and unfortunately, they decided not to renew her contract. And so with that ended my job career at FIU as well.
Well, we're glad we can keep you at Millennium High School. And, of course, you come back to Millennium or you stay with us, and then we get canceled again. But we'll talk about that in one short minute. But, no, I'm grateful for having you on the show, Keetley, and we'll go back and forth. And we do have questions already. Jonathan Cortez, by the way, you're more than welcome to come on the show. And I know for a fact that I've caused you many nightmares and stuff, yelling and screaming at you. And I would like to apologize to you live on this show. You're more than welcome to be on the show. Send me a text and I'll get you on the show. I'm about 4 weeks out with guests, so I can have you in February, assuming we make it to February. For the ones that don't know, this podcast is an educational podcast about problems with youth soccer development. And I'm hopeful that through this podcast, we'll help advance the game through discussing what works and what doesn't. It's typically I typically bring on past players, like I said before, to talk about how much I sucked and how we can do better. This noise in my ear is killing me. I don't think it's online. But anyways, tonight we're going to focus on all our attention on AIA. I can't do it. All right, I'm just not going to hear anything. So we're going to talk about AIA and how they were doing something great. For the first time in history, AIA canceled full sports seasons for the first time, 100-plus years of the organization. First time it went down on a vote of 5-4, and we're supposedly not having a winter season, but hopefully we can fix some things. Keetley. Jeez. I swear.
I can hear it too.
You can hear it too?
Yeah.
Can
It's
the
in my
people
ear
hear?
also.
Jeez. It only happens during the show. It was fine on pre-show. Anyways, we apologize for this, but that's IT Ryan. Fix it.
You're doing great, honey.
Yeah, you're doing great. This is killing me. Anyways, so I want to pull up a something the executive director David Hines said. He says back in December, he said during the December special AI executive board meeting that pushed the start date back from January 5th, AI executive director David Hines said that the only way the season wouldn't start is if Governor Doug Ducey wouldn't shut down the state. So we've been telling our kids, Keetley, don't worry, because they kept asking, are we going to have a season? We're going to have a season? Yes, we're going to have a season unless Governor Ducey cancels the season.
Or we don't follow all the protocols, which
Oh,
were given to us.
So
Very
many
extensive,
protocols.
Very extensive. And our girls did it very well for high schoolers.
yeah, they do have a light buzz, IT Ryan. There's a light buzz on their side. You have to mess with the mic system or something. Even they hear it, so that's unfortunate. There's a light buzz that we did not have in the pre-show, but we have it now live, of course. And that's the stress of doing a live show. It always has problems, but we roll with it. I'm going to read you a quote from one of the coaches from St. Mary's. He says, "It's a tragedy." That's better, whatever you did. It's a tragedy that a handful of adults made a decision that robs thousands of young women and men across the state, said Phoenix St. Mary's boys basketball coach Damon Lopez, whose team was ranked number 1 in the 4A by the Arizona Republic in preseason. Hey, Millennium, we were ranked number 5?
6.
6?
6.
But all divisions.
Yeah.
The Arizona Republic posted that with the vaccine increasing in distribution and the facts that the student athletes were competing in AIA activities on the day of the vote just makes one wonder what their real motivation is. That is interesting to have an idea. I love how AIA executive board, and I get there, it's executive board, is I can't really hear it. So now how are we doing? Are you seeing the same comments we're seeing, IT Ryan?
Yeah, everyone says it's clear, and I'm not hearing it at all either.
Yay.
I'm not
Okay.
hearing it either.
So AIA executive board gets together on Friday, and they did it on a Friday, made the announcement thinking they can get through the weekend to avoid the media, because they kind of do it like I'm a big fan of that show. What's that White House show back in the day? It was pretty good with West Wing, and I love that show because behind the scenes you'll see how they kind of hide news and stuff. Well, they'll report some dangerous stuff on a Friday, so to get through that weekend because no one's doing anything on the weekend, and it just kind of gets buried away. AIA thought they could do that, and it didn't work. But let's check out how the board voted, Keetley. Voting to play ball, Marcus Williams of Chandler Unified. Yay. Jenny Brandel of Flagstaff High. Jim Dean and Camille Castile all say play ball. Now, but this came from the Arizona Republic, so it's not like I went searching everywhere. It's in the Arizona Republic, so it's public knowledge. Voting to cancel is Jim Love of Flowing Wells, Ricky Greer of Hopi High School, Tim Carter, William Duarte, and Zach Munoz. Now, Zach Munoz is the AD for Phoenix Union High School, and that's an interesting cancel by him because they already canceled everything in Phoenix Union. They don't even have sports. So he made a major vote on behalf of 6A to cancel everything else, which is very, very interesting on why he did that. So if they can't play, we all can't play. I just want the freedom of make your own decisions. Districts should decide this, but the way the AIA Executive Council or whoever put up these bylaws, they need to rethink things because 5 people decided for thousands of what's going to go on, and they need to rethink how they do things. So anyways, so the question is the cure is worse than the disease? So they proposed a solution by the AIA Executive Committee is to shut down. Will AI solutions be worse than the problem? I don't know. We're going to find out, won't we? So, you know, you can have drug abuse, suicide, lack of supervision. A million things happen in high school. I was a high school student. I needed supervision.
Yes.
At all times. Sports gave me supervision. You don't want me without supervision at all. It's not a good thing, ever. Anyways, I did do an interview with Dr. Hylot earlier today. Ryan, do you have that video?
Yep.
All right, let's hear from Dr. Hylot. I'm very excited to have Dr. Hylot. It's always good to have doctors on the show. Dr. Hylot, can you please tell our listeners what you do for our community?
Thank you so much, Coach Cameron, for having me on your show. Like you said, I'm a doctor. My name is Dr. Hylot, and I'm the owner of 7 dispensaries throughout the valley called Take You Higher. The owner of RapZap. Get your RapZap today. I can customize any Zap with any Rap purchased for your child's learning needs. For only $195, you can have the RapZap today.
Did you hear about
I
AIA's
did.
decision of shutting down high school
That's
sports?
totally devastating. This is why I wanted to be on your show, Coach Cameron. This is why.
Really? Why is that?
Well, I really feel that I can help offset the tremendous amount of depression, anxiety, chronic pain, PTSD that AIA created for thousands of kids throughout Arizona.
I'm not sure going to drugs will help them through this horrible time that AIA created.
Would you rather these young boys and girls to find street drugs and use non-approved government-approved dispensaries like myself?
I would rather we find other ways to finding that than doing whatever
But
you're
you know where to
proposing.
find me. At any of my 7 Valley locations, take you higher, that I can. Peace and love.
Anyways, I just threw that together quickly, but obviously I don't believe the young women and young men of Arizona would ever resort to Dr. Hylot's distribution centers or anything. I have a lot more hope that they are smarter than that, and I don't think they would do that. Ryan, are we going to take some questions?
Yes, we have a lot.
Well, pick the good ones.
Well, we can knock out 3 from Chad. Well, two of them aren't questions, but they're just his viewpoint. Let's see. Chad says, let clubs focus on sports and schools focus on education. He said, why is that bad?
Well, let's just stop right there. So, Chad Spear, it is. He, as far as high school and club, I'm fortunate enough to be in both, so I can tell you the difference. There's a difference between high school and club, and I think a lot of it has to do with coaches too. So clubs, you can say, oh, I play for this club or that club. I don't care what club you represent. The only thing I care about is the individual coach, because in every club, there's good coaches and there's garbage coaches, and you know who they are, and don't lie about it. There's a lot of garbage coaches out there, but there's a lot of good ones, but it's not because, oh, I'm part of this club, therefore we're super. No, that's a lie, absolute lie. They don't all coach the same. They're all different, and you don't know what you're getting yourself into. You could say the same thing for high school, but I'm only going to speak in terms of Millennium High School and what we do. I'm not aware of many clubs that can get over 2,000 fans to a game like we do. We do some great things, and we actually have some special, and they always have the choice. They don't have to play high school. So if we do a good job at the high school level, they have a choice. I'm all about freedom of choice. We are limiting the freedom of choice here. You want to do a club? Do it. You want to do high school? Do it. But in this situation, AIA's executive board saying, we're going to make a decision for everybody. We know better than you because we're about safety. I don't know what safety they're talking about, because everything we're doing right now is not going to change a darn thing. Nothing. Next question.
Next question is from Denise. If school soccer does get canceled, what would you advise players to do to continue progressing?
Keetley, you want to take that one? Read the question again.
Yeah.
If school soccer does get canceled, what would you advise players to do to continue progressing?
Ooh.
I mean, obviously, first one is go back to their clubs, I guess. I mean, you want to get playing immediately. That'd be my biggest thing. And to go back to that, too, with club soccer. Actually, I'm going to go back to Chad's really quick, because I have one thing with Chad. Not all of those kids either can access club soccer or have the resources to get to club soccer. So you have
True.
parents that work. So that's one thing. You can't now, I have one kid that I want to come to my team for my 06 girls, and her parents just can't get her to Surprise. And so granted, there's other clubs that she could go to, but that's one of the biggest options too for them. So my advice going back to Denise, though, is just get them playing as soon as possible. If that's with their clubs, awesome. If that's even just with friends or going out with other people. And, we're trying right now. We can't do anything with Millennium just because of AIA. We can't go over our board's head or any of that. But if the girls were to get together and play on their own, that's something that they can do.
Yeah. You bring up 2 great points. One, every high school has a segment of their team that can't afford club, don't have the resources for club, don't have a ride. I mean, all those things that they matter too. It can't just be, just the elite of the elite. That's a great point you bring up. And as far as what can they do right now is get a ball, go to the AIA offices and start juggling in protest. and work on your technique and just practice around that building.
Wear your mask.
Just kidding. Go do it. Just kidding. Yeah. Any other questions?
Yes. Also from Denise, why are they grouping indoor sports and outdoor sports when it's been shown outdoors is much safer?
I haven't seen the statistics on it as far as indoor, outdoor, and how the virus spreads. I mean, we've done every precaution in Arizona. Everyone's wearing a mask. Majority of people are socially distancing. I mean, things are happening as they're happening. The virus is spreading, and I'm not sure there is a great solution how to slow it down, and we'll find out years later of how we could have done this better. But we just can't be in a situation where we're causing more problems. I'm about outdoor, indoor. Everything can be played safe, especially in high school. High school, the rules we have are like insane. Like not insane, but our protocols are completely different. And the precautions we take are at a high level. Give an example. Jack was around COVID, had a quarantine, had to get tested, came up positive to then quarantine again, and then he had to get with a doctor and get approved a doctor. Then he has to see his athletic trainer and work with him for 7 days to make sure there's no other problems. I mean, that's you don't do that in club. You don't do that anywhere else. I mean, that's a very precautionary situation that we were in, and we take the steps necessary. Everyone's wearing a mask. I mean, it's different. Club, it's not that way. It's the wild, wild west with most clubs, and you see it all the time. So I'm not against indoor versus outdoor and how it spreads that way. It all can be done safely because they're going to just go to club. In basketball's not going to stop. Nothing's going to stop. Just AIA with high school, they're trying to make stop. But I'm positive when we get to the end of the show, you're going to hear some amazing, great news that things are going our way. Any other questions?
We have a little response from Chad. He says they will train.
That was it?
Yep.
Well,
it's probably just delayed, so I'm not totally sure what that's in reference to.
Oh.
But we also have Kevin. He says it's time to look at why the AIA is even needed. Other high school sports operate with outside is AIA. Yeah, and in California, they actually took over the state association in high school and created another one just for soccer. And that's what's going on right now. And I think AIA is realizing it, and they can be in big trouble because they could lose all the winter sports now and who knows, many years to come.
I mean, in this sense, I'm not trying to be negative toward AIA, ignore what happened on Friday, but I don't think that's a bad idea to create a whole league that's just soccer. AIA, at the end of the day, they're dealing with all these different sports, all these different coaches that you can't put a football coach as a soccer coach. Unless he's very knowledgeable in the game, you can't do that. You can't have the rankings done the same as basketball, as football, as golf, so on and so forth. So maybe even separating and making our whole new league isn't a bad idea.
Well, that's what's going to happen. There's going to be so many people coming together trying to figure out what are best options. I know basketball's already organized in a league, ready to rock and roll. Within 24 hours, they are organized. I know in ASA has contacted several major players in high school that are involved in both club and high school about creating solutions for them. So it will be solved, but I don't want AIA to go away. And let's not forget, AIA is governed by us. AIA just serves us, and we create votes. The way we had the voting structure set up by high school is where the problem was. It was the executive committee, which is high school. So they kind of, put AIA's hands tied as far as what they could do. But there's a lot of confusion we have to deal with. But I want to talk about what we found on the AIA justifying their logic. So they talk about infection rates. So this is right on their website, justifying why they did what they did. And the question was, they put on their website saying infection rates and death rates are incredibly low for people under 18. Why are we preventing kids from playing? Their response is, it is true that COVID-19 is not as severe for high school age, not as severe, not even close, minuscule. Anyways, individuals and rarely result in death or long-term impact. The bigger concern is that students may lose the ability to receive timely care in a case of an injury due to hospital capacity issues. Hospitals are repurposing floors and COVID-19 units to support the growing cases. In recent days, some hospitals have repurposed their pediatric floors to handle COVID-19 caseloads. So I think that's misleading. COVID-19 is a huge problem, but there's a lot of areas of hospitals that are delayed. And there was a great point made on the Arizona Republic about what about the Children's Hospital that has no COVID-19 patients. They can't be seen there. I mean, Jack was able to see his doctor right away. And I know a lot of students that are dealing with similar, like they have to get tested and stuff. Getting tested's very easy. And get trained for injuries. We have doctors. I use my doctor. I saw my doctor last week. I mean, we're not frozen there. And how many injuries are actually happening that are so major that they have to put in the emergency room during winter sports?
That was my whole argument. What's the percentage of players that does happen to?
Yeah.
Well, and
It has to be low.
Well, and that was my thought, because not only that, but how many people fell off their ladders this last week taking off Christmas lights?
Shoot, I almost did.
You know, how many
tweaked my hip.
got in car accidents? How many people, so on and so forth, are getting injuries? So yeah, we're taking it away from soccer, from kids, I guess, or all the winter sports. But what about freak accidents that happen in life?
Yeah, and Darren Toohey says, based on what you said, did the AIA say how many high school soccer players needed to go to the hospital last year? I guarantee they didn't even look at that because they threw it on this website very fast.
You had to.
They didn't even put it up. The next thing that I want to talk about, what AIA put on as a explaining of why they did what they did, is they posed this question to us from them. Why is there so much concern about hospital bed capacity? What does this have to do with high school sports? AIA's response: hospital bed capacity is not just an indicator of space, but also healthcare personnel availability. There is a concern that continuing winter sports as originally scheduled could impact community spread and potentially impact an injury student's ability to receive care. Both those statements are false. They're partially true. They might be true, like the sky is falling kind of mentality. I'm not a fan of, I consider this to be some form of intellectual manipulation. They're like, oh, we'll use these scary terms that the spread could happen. The spread's happening. AIA executive board and everyone that thinks we should have high school, the spread's happening. People are conjugating. It's going. So let's not punish those that we can really help. And for the ones that don't know, where we coach at high school at Millennium, we don't talk about winning. We won't do any of that. All we talk about is developing the young women to survive this world using sport as the carrot. It's a big deal to us. We love having that interaction with kids to help them help them with whatever they're dealing with, without getting too personal, without talking about individual cases. Keetley, what's your experience coaching at Millennium and kind of what we're doing?
I'm always going to go back to, and I'm gonna bring up Gabby Smith. I think we can talk about Gabby Smith on here. I'm gonna go back. That was about 2 years ago, and Gabby Smith she's one of our goalkeepers, and she had the just personal stuff going on in her life that she didn't disclose for about 2 years. I mean, we had her. This was her senior year or her junior year? Her junior year.
Junior year.
So she had been dealing with some things from freshman year that she didn't talk about ever. And, we decided that we were going to revamp the high schoolers and we were going to help them. Like Dave said, we didn't put an emphasis on winning. We didn't care. We cared about the individual. And Gabby, 2 years later, junior year, comes up and she's like, I want to share something. And she shares this personal thing that she had been dealing with to the whole team. And it was something that it was incredible.
There's several of those experiences that I
Yeah.
would have never in a million years thought I would have been part of. And obviously we changed the culture of what we were doing. And that's kind of what we talked about last week with Marin and Karis. High school gave us a different opportunity to be around those young women 5 days a week, to have the interviews that we have. For the ones that don't know, we interview each player, each student athlete, and see how they're doing, how we can help, how they're doing in school, and all the things that we need to do about nurturing and counseling and helping any individual survive this world, because this world's not easy. So we use sport to help save lives. That's what we do at Millennium. That's all we do. And we were robbed of that. And that's what bothers me. It's not about, oh, we could win state. I don't care about any of that. All I care about is, do I have an opportunity to keep meeting with these young women with my coaching staff to see how they're doing, seeing if there's a way to help them during these times. And we save lives. We save these student athletes, emotional days, and just to have a team the way we have it is different. And I've coached a long time, and I've never fully experienced anything like this, except in the last couple of years. It's truly a special team, and that's what we've been robbed. And I know there's a lot of good coaches out there that do that. They really help those kids. And there's a lot of kids that we deal with that don't have a club to go to, that don't have a ride, don't have those things, and they don't matter. I mean, that's where I have a big problem.
I feel like this is such a crucial time of the year to have them too. I mean, winter, December, just the winter months are always just hard to begin with, or hard anyways.
Right.
On mentality. So this is the time for them to kind of get away from club. Club is stressful. Club is very stressful. And there's a lot of pressure from other coaches. So they come to us, and this is their chance for them to calm down, to get a break, to enjoy the game without, the stressors and the pressure of having to win through the season.
Yeah. And I remember as a kid, I loved my club.
Yeah.
I mean, I loved my club, but I loved high school because I could be the man, and I could represent. I remember we had the band at the game. It's just different to play for a team that's represented by many clubs and have interactions with kids you would never, versus, oh, you play for this club, I play for this club, you suck, or whatever. Yeah. But they get a chance to come together. Coming together is a whole different animal. And where we're living right now, this social media garbage we're dealing with, by the way, Facebook, Twitter, Parler, whatever you're on, it's not real. It's fake. People post on there. People I know say the stupidest things, but when I talk to them one-on-one as a human being, they're different. They are kind. They're loving. They want the same things we all do. But us keeping us locked down at all times is crushing the whole spirit of what human beings are, which is good human beings that want to help one another. And we lost that opportunity, but I'm hopeful we're going to get it back. Any questions, IT Ryan? There's a bunch coming through, but
it's mostly just comments.
Okay.
There's a question from Darren. He says, can the AIA look at the mental health impacts of kids being stuck inside, not having an avenue to compete and to socially engage, and what they will do to the kids in society? Yeah,
those are, I bet studies are already done with counseling and stuff about, even without sport, it just what these kids are going through. There's probably measurements happening right now. And, I get we're trying to be safe, but by doing this, nothing's changing except kids are suffering. They have no ability to find a way out. They have no ability to talk someone. It's just a different animal of crazy that we are putting a lot of kids at risk. Now, can sports save them all? No. But can it save a couple hundred? Yes. Can it save 1,000? Maybe. We don't know. But does the 50 to 100 that truly are saved, from suicide, from depression, from anxiety, and all the things that we're doing, is it important? And that's what we need to really understand. Are we able to save anyone versus bunker down and hope that the COVID doesn't come and get you? Well, it's going to come and get you. I've had it. Ryan had it. My whole family's had it.
I haven't had it.
You haven't got it?
Not that I know of.
She probably had it.
Probably.
I tested for it. I failed the test 3 times, by the way. I screwed up the numbers. I need to go test while I'm healthy to fix the numbers. If you had COVID, go get tested every day so we can change the numbers so people aren't so scared. And I'm not knocking on COVID. COVID, I've lost friends from COVID. It is a big deal. But I want to help the ones that are still here with us. I don't want to stop living. You know, everyone has the opportunity to protect yourself. Every district, every school has the opportunity to shut down.
James just said that our sound went out.
That'd be on you.
Says that we're not muted. He says on our feed. Is that specific to he's on Facebook?
No, sound went out on your feed. Oh, I don't know. I think we're on. Can people hear us online? I'm assuming.
Find out.
I'm assuming we would have got more. We have 34 watching just on Facebook.
Yeah, and we are still getting questions.
Sound is perfect. We're good. Let's
Okay,
roll.
cool.
All right. So let's give some hope. Okay. There's huge hope, and we got breaking news, and we're gonna break it to you. But those who refuse to shut down, Deer Valley Unified. So they sent a letter on January 8th, 2021. Isn't that when it shut down? Was that the 8th?
Yeah, correct.
So on the 8th, they shut down. And this is what Deer Valley sent out to their high school sports community. Many of you have already learned that our high school sports governing body, AIA, have canceled winter sports for the 2021 season. The cancellation impacts hundreds of athletes in our district and is especially difficult news for our seniors. At DVUSD, we have always worked to put students first, and the safety of our students and staff remains paramount, especially in the time of this pandemic. We believe our students are safest at school and believe our student athletes are safest in our gyms and on our fields. Accordingly, district athletic leadership has met and begun a plan to provide competitive opportunities conducted in a safe manner for our student athletes who competed in the winter sports. At this time, winter sports are able to continue practicing. Did you hear that, Freya Union? Follow their lead. We need to provide another update by next. So next week, Deer Valley is going to provide an update. Right now, we're shut down. I get it. But I love the forward thinking of Deer Valley and what they're doing. Others that refuse to shut down, Brophy, Chandler Unified, Gilbert Unified, Deer Valley Unified, which I wrote that letter, Mesa. Who else is not shutting down? Put in your comments if you know anyone else is not shutting down. That would be, those are ones I know that aren't shutting down.
I believe Shadow Ridge is still practicing.
What?
So that's a West Valley.
Good for
They
you.
start on Tuesday.
Good for you, Shadow Ridge. Get to it. And for all the Millennium Tigers watching right now, we do have hope. So let's post an AZ Central Sports poll, which I can't see, but you have the clip or the... What's it at, Ryan?
The poll vote. Did the AIA board make the right call voting to cancel the Arizona high school sports winter season? Yes is 20.3% and no is 79.7%.
Yeah, so that's a significant number of majority wants this high school season to exist. That's very important. Now, Brandon Jackson put together a sign.moveon.org, and he did a revote campaign. And where's that at? What's the number at? I did this number like a couple hours ago. It's probably up higher.
The petition?
Yeah.
Oops. It's 40,742 signatures out of 45,000.
Yeah, it has to be higher than that now. But for the ones that haven't signed that petition, sign it. Get as many as we can. I think it's very important. Now, a couple major tweets that came out from the news that report on AIA. Les Willsey tweeted, AIA has indeed scheduled another special executive board meeting on Tuesday, January 12th, 10:30 a.m. This is a big deal. That's huge. They're being pushed back into a room to have further discussions to talk about how they voted, and the information that was given in that meeting might have not been the best information that they should have received when they voted. It was followed up by a tweet. It says the winter sports is the only agenda item for this special executive board meeting. We are hopeful by Tuesday that we will have winter sports back. That's what needs to happen. And hopefully they will make a good decision to do that. Now, Phoenix Union, if you choose to stay shut down, which for far as I know, you're shutting down, I think it's Munoz is the one that represents Phoenix Union, but he also is one of the executive members. He can keep everyone safe in his district and keep it shut down, but let everyone else play. And that's where I wish we had, Keetley. I wish we had freedom to choose for ourselves. Like, even I think we'll reopen next week. Mm-hmm. But I would never in a million years get upset if a family's like, we can't take the risk. I get it.
Well, we've already had that too.
Oh, yeah.
We have had players that are like, I'm not going to play this season. I'm going to skip this because of other things. I know one kid specifically, I'm not going to name her, but mom just had a brand new baby this year.
Yeah.
And so, she was like, Coach, I need, I can't take that. And it's like, okay, I understand. We'll see you next year. We'd love to have her back. She's a great kid, but you got to do what you got to do this year. We've never been in this before.
So the pressure's been great. As soon as this announcement hit, big players of the Arizona high school scene got to AIA immediately and contacted those who voted no to rethink things. And hopefully they are rethinking things. And I'm not upset they voted no. They're voting no because they think that's the safest thing for our community. And now hopefully they're realizing, what, we didn't really think about all those kids that have really nothing except sport at their high school. There's so many athletes that can't afford club, can't afford so many other things, but high school provides you those things. And we cannot take that away. And maybe they're rethinking things. You think that's the case, Keetley? And Ryan, check for more questions as we wrap up the show.
Yeah, we do have a couple more questions. Jessica said, so since high school is currently shut down, are athletes able to play club, or are they just waiting to see?
I think that's just what we're waiting on right now. I've definitely, when it got announced, I had a lot of my girls contacting me, like, when are we going to come back? And, I'm sure all club coaches can kind of agree with this. Like, it was a little like, whoa, like, we're getting all of our older players back. Okay. So.
Clubs went crazy.
Yeah.
Like, clubs were like organizing schedule, getting ready for the tournaments. They move. And I'm appreciative for club doing that because club needs to provide, which they definitely can provide.
We're sitting in a situation now that's like, we're getting them back, but now what?
Yeah.
Our tournament's going to start opening up. Or are we going to go league? Or, what's going to happen?
I think, knock on wood, AIA is meeting on Tuesday. They're going to do a revote, and they're gonna get us back to our schedule. And we have our game in a week from now.
That'd be fantastic.
So
that's the ideal scenario.
That's what I want to happen. I think that's what's going to happen because the pressure is great. I don't know who is making phone calls and stuff, but there's a lot of angry people out there. I just do a podcast to talk about it, but people like make phone calls, go to people's houses, and do other things that they're some things I would never do, but I love the fact that we can communicate on a podcast, and these are record numbers for us on 5 different platforms. Having a couple hundred people paying attention to us right now because this is an important topic. It's so important that there's people actually listening to my podcast. My podcast is not that popular, not live, but this is our biggest podcast ever live with the amount of viewers we have right now. My audio podcast actually gets about 1,700 downloads a day, but
which is awesome.
Which I'm moving on to live streaming, but there's a lot of people listening because it's the topic. It's not like or maybe it's you, Keetley, because you've never been on this show. You've been on the Millennium one, but they're like, oh, Keetley's on. We got to watch Keetley. So, any other questions, Ryan?
Yes. Darren says, what impact do you think this will have on a decent high school player who needed the season to get a college scholarship?
That's the big one right now.
That is a real big deal. Great question, Darren. for my daughter Dakota, I had her transfer to Millennium her senior year because she wasn't getting any offers anywhere else at her previous schools and stuff. And she came over to Millennium, and just playing high school, she got all these offers because we do film. We do a lot of things for our program that we provide huddle, and we get them highlight tips and whatnot. But she was able to get several athletic scholarships offers and finally got a full ride to Seattle U, which was a big deal, which was done through high school. Mm-hmm. That's going to be similar for a lot of girls that haven't had a chance to even look at any schools. I mean, we're in that situation too, but luckily we already dealt with our seniors already and already helped them in that process. But yeah, playing's a big deal. I mean, it's important.
I mean, I'll say too, it's harder for the 2021s anyways, just because you got that year of eligibility back with all the colleges, all the NCAA, NAIA, JUCO, everything.
Yeah.
So 2021s are already struggling to find schools that they can go to, finding, even playing a bunch. California hasn't even played unless they've came here. You know, so you have a lot of kids looking for a home right now.
You bring up a good point. The whole shutdown does nothing. People will play. When California shut down their sports, they all took over Yuma, California. Families moved here. Yeah. They moved here to practice and play. You cannot stop sports. It's going to happen, but it's certainly going to affect a segment of our community that's vulnerable, and that's where I have a huge, huge problem with this. This is, I mean, when we on Friday, we actually had a meeting on Friday, and it was already Friday. We weren't practicing in person. We were just going to do what is it, Google Meet? What do we do? What was that?
Fundraising.
Yeah, but what we met online. It was
Google Meets.
Google Meets. And we're going to go over set plays, and we're going over a fundraiser. And, of course, this hit right before a meeting, and we had to look at 30 girls online, all with, like, hoods on, zipped up because they're all crying. It was horrible.
And they found out over Twitter.
Yeah.
Social media. It wasn't even from us. It was social media.
Oh, it was horrible. And I talked to so many coaches. I talked to Sasha Hunter at Chandler High. I talked to Greg Johnson at Basha. I talked to so many people. And they would, Paul Allen at Brophy, they said, I would give up my salary, anything to allow these seniors to have this year. And I was, I'm man enough to say that I was in tears just thinking about meeting these girls online and kind of going through that. It was horrible.
That was hard.
Horrible. Not to say that, oh, okay, that's because it was, that's an emotional, trigger for us, that therefore we should have it because we're not concerned about safety. We're concerned about safety, and it's safer, just like Deer Valley Unified said, it's safer to be under the academic institutions of high school to oversee the protocols that are given by CDC and our Arizona guidelines. That is clear. I mean, the amount of knowledge we're giving these kids about, trying to stay separated and all the things that we're doing and being creative as we are, because we're governed differently than club. So it is safer to be in high school. No doubt. And it frustrates me, like when we started this whole COVID thing, Keetley, we shut down everything except QT, Walmart,
Fries.
Costco. So everything shut down, and then we all congregate to these smaller areas and just hurt ourselves to spread the COVID. It's better to be spread out and separated. Mm-hmm. But when you shut one thing down,
well,
it
look
overflows.
At the people that go home too. We had the numbers rose after, what was it, Halloween. Halloween, the numbers skyrocketed. I mean, they did at OUAZ too. Numbers skyrocket after Halloween. They skyrocket after Thanksgiving, after Christmas. We're starting to see it after New Year's.
Yeah. What scares me about this, the way we're doing this, AIA Executive Board, we're shutting down because we're concerned about safety. But we don't want to pay attention to the science and the math of what you could find out. They just want to pay attention to the things that make them feel good. I don't know what it is, but they're setting a precedence that's horrible because it's going to spill off into what I'm scared of is Maricopa community colleges, where they're going to be like, oh, AIA did it. Oh, we're going to shut down next and punish another segment of our community that really needs the support of what we offer at the junior college level. Maricopa community colleges. Hear the words that are coming out of my mouth. Do not follow suit on what AIA did. Do not do it. There is a troubled youth, young men, that I want stewardship over. I want to help save lives. Do not rob me or those kids that opportunity. Freaking there's two times in our lives that we are suffering. It's birth to 5, very important. The other time frame is 17 to 23. Those 2 time frames in your life are huge. Do not take that away. There's guidance to be given by the many great junior college coaches out here that we're dealing with. Don't touch it. For whatever reason, COVID affects the poor. That is it. Phoenix Union shut down. Why? Because I don't know. The poor gets affected every time. Shut down high school. Don't worry, we have club. Who's affected? The poor. Do we care about the poor? Do they matter? It's easy for me to stay home. Oh, yeah, I get a paycheck. I get to chill. This is a wonderful vacation. But coaches don't think like that. We're thinking about, can we save lives? Can we help people through sport? We need the carrot. You can't do it without the carrot. Impossible. So, Maricopa community colleges, don't do it. Do not follow their lead. Be leaders. Don't follow in a direction that will really hurt a lot of young men and young women that we have stewardship over. Please don't follow that. I would greatly appreciate that. What else? We have more questions, Ryan?
No, that just about covers it.
Oh, well, if that covers it, we're going to move on unless you have anything else, Keetley.
Nothing. I could talk all day on that. But, I mean, at the end of the day, kids need athletics. Kids need sports.
Yeah, sports
That's
is
the only way. This isn't even about soccer anymore. Like this is everything. You have young football players that need guidance. You have young basketball, volleyball, young men, young women. At the end of the day, kids need sports. Athletics needs to be alive.
Denise Figueroa says, I got one high school kid and one JUCO kid that need to be playing. And you're right. They do need to be playing, and we're hopeful that that will be the case. I do believe that Tuesday the executive board meeting will move high school back. Because if they don't, they're going to lose a lot of athletes. That club's going to take over forever. You're not going to get them back. They won't trust the system of cancel. You know, they're not going to trust it.
Why play high school sports if you can just play club year round?
Yeah. There's always others that will provide a different way. But there's something special about wearing your high school jersey.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big deal. It's different. Even though when I was in high school, I mean, it was always way too big because they recycled, like 4 or 5 years back then. But I was I love wearing it.
You know what? There's something about getting your name announced too, like on game day.
Oh, yeah.
You don't get that in club. You don't get that like, and here's number 4. You get that in high school, and that's a cool feeling.
And
even if it's just your parents in the stands.
Playing in a stadium, you're playing another school. I mean, competing in that environment is awesome. Mm-hmm. You need that as a carrot to have something special that you can actually be with these kids to help them survive this world. It's a great place to be. I love having Jim Howell, who's used to be the voice of the Bears, and now he's the voice for the Antelopes. I think he just did play-by-play for the basketball team. They just had a game and they won. And we pay a lot of money to have a professional speaker or sports announcer, to come in and just announce a name. It is a big deal. And I remember, and I spent a lot of our money. It's like, we're paying for it. It is a big deal. That's a good point. No varsity jacket with club. That's true. Darren Toohey. There is no varsity jacket with club. They should get one. Just kidding. Imagine club having a varsity jacket, and they keep moving. They would get patches of every club they've been with.
Move to.
Arizona is a weird place when it comes to club soccer. They play for everybody. There's zero loyalty. At least at the high schools, we could stay put. I guess you could transfer, but that's a very difficult thing. All right.
Variances.
Well, that is our show. I want to thank IT Ryan. Ryan, you did a great job. You got the buzzing out of our ears.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know how I did it.
Well, you did it. And Keetley McLachlan, thank you so much for being on the show. We appreciate you and all that you're doing. Oh, Sasha Hunter, thanks for joining us finally. Flipping late. Dr. Highlight, we appreciate you and your great intelligence that you give to our program. And I hope you enjoyed the show. And please come by next Sunday. Hopefully it's an awesome Sunday next Sunday, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, that we're talking about how high school is a go. And we have big games coming up. And that'll be amazing. You can always catch my daily podcast Monday through Friday, where I'll continue to get advice to youth soccer development for parents and coaches, and myself included. You can find me in iHeartRadio, Google Play, iTunes, and wherever podcasts are found, or go to CoachCameron.com for direct access to my contact. Thank you so much for being part of this podcast. Please sign the petition. Get that to be over 50,000, hopefully approaching to 100,000 before Tuesday's meeting. AIA, please make this right. Make it right, please. And Maricopa Community Colleges, do not change your course. Keep everything the way it's going. I'll see you guys next week.